As we know, there's no other club in the bag that can make or break your game like driver, but there are certain mistakes that I see played over with so many golfers. So we're going to get into the three most common ones here of mistakes that are being made with driver, and as soon as you fix these, you will automatically hit that driver a little bit better. So I'm Jonathan Chown with JChownGolf. Let's get right into it. So the first big mistake I see with golfers is having the ball position with driver too far back. Now, sometimes I'll see golfers with the ball position pretty much out the middle with driver. We all know that's wrong. We need to have it more forward, but even having it just to where it's in between middle and your lead foot is still too far back. Because we know with driver, we want the low point, so the lowest point the swing reaches on its arc, to be behind the golf ball and then raising up through the ball to hit the ball a decent distance and with a nice angle of attack hitting up on the golf ball. When the ball's too far back, that makes that move very, very hard to do. If we are having that ball, let's say even in a 5-iron position, for example, so halfway between middle and your lead foot, now we are going to be primed to stay too much on top of the golf ball. We're generally, with the little weight shift we're going to have, it's going to get us too much in front of the ball, which is then going to cause our low point to be after, which is going to cause me to start to hit down on the ball like an iron. So that's going to cause very low shots, very spinny shots, and shots that just generally won't be going too far at all. So not what we want. Now, what we need to do, we need to be able to have that ball a little bit more out of the front of our stance. So what I like here, I like just inside your left foot. So an easy little procedure here to do is set up to the golf ball, have 2 feet together, have this ball just so it's in between those 2 feet. What I like to do is either a little step with your left foot, so I'm talking like almost like a tap towards the left hand side, if nothing at all, and then make a big step with your right foot. So now you can see my body is real behind the golf ball now. So now, if I keep my body behind the golf ball, even with a little shift here, my low point is going to be behind the golf ball, and then I'm going to be raising up through it. So if again, little tiny little step, if a step at all, big step, now my body's behind the golf ball. Now I can have that ball inside my left foot. Now I can nicely hit up on it with a good swing, and here we go. Now the second mistake here with driver is golfers hanging back a little bit too much on their back leg coming into the golf ball. So we said this a little bit in the first one as well there. But you can see a little bit of why golfers would do this is because hanging back on the back leg means your body will be more behind the golf ball at impact coming in a downswing, which means you would generally be hitting more up on the golf ball. Golfers are trying to help their ball up in the air, hanging back on that back leg. But really, a couple things can really happen from there. You could top the golf ball. You could hit way too up on the golf ball to where you're hitting, above the equator of the ball. You could also, completely miss it. And two, what would happen from there? If we hang back on that back leg, that club face is actually going to open, because the more we hang back, the more we tilt back with our shoulders, even though we want that with driver, but not this much, to where you can see the more I do that there, the more the club face is going to open. Of course, we won't be getting too much power in our golf swing because we generally wouldn't be dynamically rotating or shifting enough in our downswing to do that. Now, we still need to be moving forward onto our lead side with driver. We don't want to be moving as much forward as we would do with irons, but we still need to be moving onto our left side with driver. Now, imagine here that I'm throwing a ball. This is an example I give to a lot of my lessons, is if I'm throwing a ball and I'm throwing a ball high. So if I'm going to throw a ball high, what's the kind of position I'm going to be at here? I'm not going to be back here on my back foot trying to throw it high to throw it with distance as well, like we're trying to do with driver. I would still be getting onto my left side, I'll be getting onto my lead side to try and throw that ball high. Look at my back foot here. I'm not hanging back where that foot is, staying here and throwing it this way. I am going and throwing, my shoulders are tilting. I'm still getting onto my lead side, but that shoulder's tilting back, getting my weight onto my front foot, I can still throw that ball high. You can see the red of underneath my shoe. So looking more kind of like a movement like that, throwing up there. I'm still getting onto my left side. I won't be throwing a ball very far if I'm back here. So same thing with driver. It's like we're throwing a high ball. We're still getting our weight onto our left side. We're still swiveling that foot through. We're already enough behind the golf ball at setup. We don't need to move even more behind it to help us hitting up on the golf ball. If our ball position's good, if our tilt of our shoulders is good, we're naturally going to be hitting up. So really feel like you're throwing that high ball, or feel like you're showing someone behind you the back of your shoe there, the red of my shoe. So we don't want to be hanging back on that foot coming through the golf ball. Feel like you're throwing a high ball, or you're showing someone the back of your shoe behind you. Now, the third most common mistake here I see with people with their driver, and this one I actually see people do throughout the bag, but with driver, because the swing speed's obviously the fastest in our bag, we see this move really over exaggerate with these players, and that is overactively moving your upper body in transition. So the classic kind of over the top causing move. I'll see players with driver, one, because they know they've got to hit the ball far, they're going to try to absolutely smack the living daylights out of it and hit it way too hard. But we're talking about hard by the speed of that upper body being too fast in transition, really going at that upper body, rotating too hard first. And you're going to see as soon as I rotate that upper body way too fast in transition by trying to physically go at it with my upper body, you're going to see that club is going to be thrown way over the path there. So what we want to do, we don't want this upper body to be rotating so hard in transition. Now, I know why golfers do this and why it really is kind of exaggerated with driver. It's because they're trying to hit the golf ball extremely hard from the top of the swing, really trying to go at it, go down at it. And that's because obviously with driver, we know that we've got to hit the ball a relatively decent distance. That's one of the points of using the golf club. But with a lot of golfers who've got poor sequencing, that means the harder they go at it, the harder they're going to be rotating their upper body from transition, the more the club's going to be thrown over the top. So we need to train this lower body to separate in the downswing. We need it as soon as we start that downswing, the lower body to rotate and the upper body to stay more passive in its rotation, be behind the rotation of the lower body, and then that club is going to travel on path naturally. So what we can do here, you can see this resistance band I've got. Now this resistance band is going to be a really good thing for you to train the proper sequencing. So what you do, you grab a resistance band, put it up to an upright here. Now what you do, you get up in a kind of like a makeshift top of the backswing, and now I can't rotate my upper body. If I do it too much, the net's going to fall down. So all I want to do here, I want to separate my lower body. I can't do anything with my upper body now. It's stopped because of the resistance band. I've just got to swivel my hips, train this movement. A lot of you doing this, you're going to feel pain down your left hand side and your right hand side the day after from all the talking and twisting. But it is the best drill you can do to be able to get this lower body to separate and that upper body not to be too overly active. But you can also do a drill with a golf ball, which is extremely beneficial. Now, what this is the alignment stick and avoidance drill. So what we do here, we get an alignment stick, and if you're on a grass range, you'll stick it out the ground. So just behind your golf ball here, and you're gonna see how if now, I now come over the top, boom, I'm going to hit that stick, aren't I? So it's just about half a club's distance behind, about half a club's distance in front from that point as well. You could use a head cover, you can use anything that's just here in front of your ball, blocking that overly out to wind path. You, by just trying to miss this stick on the way down, your body will start to work in a better sequence because your body will figure out what it's got to do to miss the stick because it knows overactive upper body, you'll hit it. So it will start to move that lower body a little bit more in transition. It will start to rotate it and that upper body rotation will be calmed down. So if I hit one here, you're going to see one, quite an inside swing because I do this quite a lot already, but you're going to see definitely I'm not going to be hitting that stick and it's not going to be over the top. So guys, if you make sure you have those three things under control, you've got good ball position, you're not hanging back too much on your back leg, and as well, you're not overactive with your upper body in transition, you'll be way better off for hitting some good, more consistent drives in there. So if you found this video helpful, click the like button, and if you want more golf instruction just like this, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video. So get these three on there, and you're going to be a great driver of the golf ball.